Hello and welcome back to another episode with the Spirit EG6. Today we're going to be pulling the head off the car. So yeah, if you watched the previous episode you'd have noticed, or you might have heard me talking about, that I'm probably going to replace the head. So that's what we're going to do today, just because the head's a little bit noisy. I think it's burning a good bit of oil and I've got a really good head to go on, which we'll talk about when I get it out. So first things first, I'm probably just going to get rid of the exhaust manifold, the dizzy, the water, which is going to be great fun, fuel. The intake manifold I'm going to bring off with the head if I can, so the air filter will come out of the way. And that should be it. So let's crack on. Alrighty, that's everything disconnected on the top side. So we got the dizzy out the way, some of the electronics, obviously the air filter, fuel lines in and return, all the injector harness stuff, map sensor. The one I'm going to struggle with now is the PCV valve pipe underneath. So I'm going to try and get that now. Then it's going to be a case of getting the manifold off, and then we'll pull the valve cover off, get the cams out, drain the water, can't forget to do that, and that should be it. Sweaty. Morning chums, it's a brand new day at the Spirit headquarters. Yeah, it's a brand new day 2 days after you've just seen. Yeah, awkward. I forgot my camera the other day. I was working yesterday, but the day before that, Jesus Christ, that scared the shit out of me. Yeah, anyway, yeah, the other day I forgot my camera. I apologise, I didn't take any footage. But I did get the head back on the car. As you can see, that's literally all I've done is put the head on. I cleaned up all the mating surfaces, threw the new gasket on, and torqued the head down with the head studs. So we're going to crack on today. I've got to get the original cams back into the head, get all the head back together. I've finally received all my new gaskets, cam belt, which we're going to change, and a few other bits. I really want to get the car running today, fingers crossed. It'll be another scary moment. Hopefully the head doesn't rattle itself to bits. But let's get on with it. I'm going to get changed, and yeah, by the power of video editing. Yeah, how'd you like that? Bit of editing wizardry going on there. I like to think of my channel as being at the forefront of editing progression. Oh God, yeah. Excuse me. Right. Enough tomfoolery. Oh, let's crack on. Clearly I got out the wrong side of the bed this morning because I am absolutely monging it today. I've had the cams in and out 3 times so far. So I put them in once, and then I realised I left the back plate off, so I had to take them out again because there's no way you're getting that backing plate in without the cams out of the way. And then the 3rd time I had the cams upside down. Now that could have caused some damage because I torqued them down with them upside down. Hopefully I've not just pressed a valve into a cylinder and bent it, but if I have, then we'll have to put the old head back on and this will all have been for nothing. Yeah, but we'll see on that one. I'll do a compression test before we run it up and do any major damage. But they're the right way around now, so hopefully you can learn from my mistakes. Just plan ahead, Get the cams roughly lined up, especially the upper arrows pointing upwards, and then you can torque it all down, and don't forget the back plate if you took that off. Okay, so you can see the car's jacked up in the air, and it is now time to CV boot leaking again. It's now time to get the cam belt off, so I need to get the crank pulley off, which I'm sure I'm going to have an awesome amount of fun trying to do, because I've got to try and lock the engine, and then we'll do the cam belt. Alright dude, so I've been cracking on with the car. I've got the cam belt on. Sorry I didn't get any footage of that, but it's fairly straightforward and there's plenty of guides. Just make sure everything's timed up nicely. One thing I have put in, I've had sat around for quite a long time, is this K-tuned tensioner. It's an extra tensioner that I read is quite useful for high revving engines and in race applications to prevent belt slap. So this long side of the belt really can wobble around a lot, and you can risk skipping a tooth. And I noticed actually when I wound the engine clockwise, the crank would skip a tooth on the belt with it fully tensioned up. So this should help prevent that. Obviously the engine's not going to be turning clockwise, but it could do for some strange reason. I mean, one weird example of when that actually did happen to me, not that it slipped a tooth, but the engine rotated the wrong way, was when I spun out at Rockingham in the wet, and I pulled the car backwards in first gear, which would have rotated the engine the wrong way round, and it actually like really threw a lot of engine codes on the engine and sort of confused it a bit. But luckily in my case everything was fine from there on. But that could have skipped a tooth is what I'm getting at, and this should help that. I did have to cut into this back cover, as you can kind of see, and also you have to trim this little strengthening vein that comes down here, so I've just trimmed that back. But other than that, it's fairly straightforward. Typical Americans, this was some kind of imperial thread, and I didn't have the adjustment bolt to adjust the tensioner in and out, so I had to re-tap it to a good old M6, but no dramas there. And it just applies a very slight amount of tension onto the belt, so I can still turn the actual pulley itself. Yeah, a very slight amount of tension, but it just stops that belt slapping and wobbling around. Whilst I have the valve cover off, I'm actually going to check the valve clearances, because, well, obviously this head's been freshly built and it's not had these cams sat on it before, so it needs doing. Excuse me, I don't have the correct valve clearancing tool to adjust, the lash, but I believe you can make one, so I might have to sacrifice a long 10mm socket and a spanner or any bit of metal that I'll just weld it onto the side. Shouldn't take 5 minutes. And there you have it, 1x valve adjustment tool. So the way this will work is I can plonk that on there, crack off the, he says, damn they're tight. Anyway, I'll be able to crack them off, and I've left my screwdriver over there. Yeah, so crack off the lock nut, make my adjustment, and then tighten it back up. We'll see how this turns out. Okay, so that's the first one done. It's a bit of to and fro, but what you're looking for is, so on the exhaust side, I want between 0.17 of a mil and 0.21 of a mil. So I've gone for 18, which is a little bit on the tight side. And 18 fits with a nice bit of drag. And to test that you're pretty much on 18, so there I've got a 0.2 of a mil. And you can't get the 0.2 in. So we know that we are on 18, or as near enough 18, not quite 20, so we're just over the tight side, which should be fine. So I'm going to do the rest of them. It's probably going to take a bit of a while. I'm sure my back is going to be in clip after this, but it needs doing because they're all too tight. Yeah, let's get it done. Right, that is the valve clearance is done. It took so long, like 2 hours. Yeah. I'm probably trying to get them to perfect among all 16 of them, but as soon as I got them set to where I wanted them on the feeler gauges, and then turn the engine over to recheck, they would like loosen up. So I think the trick is to go a little bit tighter, turn it over, and then they were kind of in spec. So I got there in the end, but it just took me a while. And it's starting to get late again, so I don't think I'm going to have the engine running today. Definitely maybe tomorrow. Yeah, so what I'm going to do now is get the valve cover on, get the distributor back on, get everything plugged back in, and maybe get the manifold on, the exhaust plumb back up, and put it on the ground, and that'll probably be me for tonight. Yeah, 45 minutes I've got to do that. Well, let's go. Alright guys, we got it back together. So the cam cover is on with its nice new seals and gaskets and stuff. The manifold is back on, Dizzy's back on. Valve clearances are done. Everything's connected back up. I need to fill it with water. I might throw some water in it now just to make sure I haven't got any leaks in the morning. Then we're going to compression test it tomorrow. We'll ditch the oil first, we'll change the oil, compression test, fire it up, and then just finalise everything. Anyway, that's me done for today. I'm going to have a quick clean up and get out of here, and I'll see you tomorrow. Alright guys, it's a brand new day for me and just a split second for you on this head cam belt and whatever else I need to get done extravaganza. This is my last day today. I need to have the car packed up and on the trailer this afternoon / evening / night, potentially early morning. Yeah, actually, I'm fingers crossed it shouldn't be too bad. I've got a fairly long list of straightforward jobs. So, no time to waste. Let's get cracking on with a compression test. Oh, God. All right, guys, I've just drained the fluids, the oil, and refilled the water and the oil. So it's now compression test time. Oh, God. I don't know why this is so scary. It should be okay. As long as I've not somehow bent a valve, which would be excellent. The alternator's not wired up. Right. I'm going to put the alternator belt on, and then we will crack on with the compression test. Alright, cylinder 1 is 230 and a bit PSI, I'll call it 230. Two is 230, good. 240. And 230, 236, 37, good. So compression is good, as you've seen there. We're between 230 and 240 across the board. So there's only one thing left to do, and that is to plug it all in and fire it up. But to be honest, it's turning over okay. Obviously we've got compression, so there shouldn't be any reason why we're going to have any issues at this stage, unless the top end's mega noisy where I've completely messed up my valve clearances. But we won't worry about that just yet. Extra close up of my face there, which sure was lovely. I'm just going to wipe there's a bit of residual oil on the plug leads where it's been sat in a box. Give these a quick clean up, let's throw it together and fire her up. Alright, here we go, spark plugs are back in, HT leads are on. I don't think, let's just do a quick check, make sure I've not left something stuck in the engine or unplugged. So, plugged up, Dizzy's plugged up, all sensors, I've plugged the lambda back in on the exhaust, fuel lines are on. Yep. Idle valve, map, throttle position, Dizzy, this stuff. Oh yeah, it's going to be loud for a start, but we'll just see if it fires. then I will sort the exhaust out. So, while you're watching me, that'll do, pig. That'll do. Okay, so I'm going to get the exhaust connected up, then we'll run her up, get her nice and hot, bleed the coolant, and do you know what? I'm tempted to just move it onto the ramps now and just make life a lot easier on the exhaust. Yeah, okay, let's do that. Alright, yeah, so for some reason the exhaust, which fits all nice here, nice, but down here, I've magically lost like 10 mil. I'm probably going to have to cut it somewhere and extend it a bit. Alright guys, so I've just sliced the exhaust in half, at least the centre section. And this is now the gap that I need to fill, so it's not massive, but it's a bit of a weird one. But yeah, basically I'm just going to chop out a ring of metal and shape it so it fits, because it's not perfectly square. So I'll measure the widest and narrowest part of the gap and try and shape a little ring to fit. But we shouldn't have too many dramas with this. So let's just get it done. Alright guys, that's the ring cut out. It seems to fit fairly nice. That's pretty much where I want it now, so I'm going to tack that in and then we'll get the centre section out and weld her up. Alrighty, that's the exhaust on. It fits a lot better. I'm glad I did that, because it just slipping on the, not even the V-band clamps, but just the V-bands slotting together. It fits well enough to hold itself up without any hangers in the centre exhaust. It just hangs on like a millimetre lip of the V-band flanges. So it's really nice. That's obviously in gear, so clearance steel, not my finest welding, but whatever, it's done. Yeah, so that should be the exhaust in a much better state now. It's got a little bit more flex. It's not rock solid like it was before. It would have been prone to cracking and just causing more issues down the line. Right, we're doing alright today. I'm not monging it like I was yesterday. So we're in a good place. The car now is pretty much good to go up to Will to get mapped tomorrow. But I've still got plenty of other jobs I can get done today. I think it's just about lunchtime. Yeah, let's see what we can do. Cool, so I've just got the car run up and up to temperature. You guys were charging up whilst I was doing that, but it got up to temp fine. Everything kicked in as it should. The engine sounds a lot sweeter than it used to. Certainly lost that clackety sort of noise on the top end. It seemed to have it initially, but then as the fluids got around it all and it warmed up, it seemed to go away. So it may well be something to do with the ring gap that makes it a bit noisy at the start. Yes, it's a little bit noisy again now, but when it was hot, it completely went away. But there she is, all run up nice and sweet. I don't think I mentioned actually, so obviously you missed where I got to put the head on the car, and I don't think I actually spoke about what's been done to this head that's different to the old one. So this one's got new valve guides in it, so they're a bit of a nightmare to get fitted, so I've had them done. It's got upgraded valve springs, retainers, and the collets. Flat face valves from Supertech to raise the compression a tiny bit. So the engine should be now about bang on 12:1 compression ratio. We had a three angle valve job done and a slight skim. And I think that's it. So it's just an all around better package. Maybe we'll see a little bit of power out of it tomorrow, but I don't think we'll see a lot. Either way, it's on and done, and it was actually a relatively straightforward job, apart from them valve clearances. They were a bit of a nightmare. But yeah, I'm really happy with it. So that's us good to go for tomorrow. I'm going to wrap up a few other jobs now, but nothing really important or worth showing you guys. So I'm going to call it a day there. So yeah, thank you for watching. Sorry this has been maybe a slightly longer episode than normal, but I had a lot of stuff to get out of the way. But I hope you enjoyed it, and look forward to the next episode, which will be me getting up north with Will at RDT to get the car remapped again. Hopefully tweak a little bit, just a touch more power out of it would be really nice, but really just to make sure it's all running sweet as it can be, and that'll be that. Ooh, also stay tuned, because I've picked up something that I wasn't planning on getting anytime soon, but it's something that's pretty freaking sweet and expensive. So yeah, I'll be picking that up on Friday, and you'll be seeing that fairly soon, but I'll give that away later on. Thank you guys. I'll see you next time, ready for the remap. Cheers. Bye bye.